What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're talking about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. We got an out of nowhere shadow dropped trailer last night, and we have a bunch of new information from amiibo, the actual content, story details, characters, new footage, and so much more to go over, because this is not your average piece of DLC, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. So let's go ahead and get right into the content here with the official announcement and of course the trailer that you guys are seeing right now. But make sure you stay tuned throughout the whole video. We've got new extra clips outside of the trailer and also details on each of the character completely translated as well of the official Monolith Soft account. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and what Nintendo has to say, saying seize the future you desire, and hashtag Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, coming April 25th, 4/25. I was so hyped when I saw this release or this trailer that I didn't even notice they put the release date in the actual trailer. So it was nuts. The release date was in the title of it, and then when I saw it at the end, I even popped off more. Man, a lot of story DLC content coming our way. Now they also say this original story scenario is available exclusively via Wave 4 of the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 expansion pass. So this is important to note because I've had a number of people ask me about a physical edition, because for those who don't know, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torn of the Golden Country, which was the last piece of major DLC for a Xenoblade game, at least the last one in terms of expansion, that was actually a physical copy of the game separate from the Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Now you can still get it in the expansion pass via there with the DLC and everything, but you can also buy a separate physical copy and play it from there. But that is not the case here, because they say this is exclusively via Wave 4 of the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 expansion pass. So they never said that from what I remember with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So that does lead me to believe that there will be no physical edition of this, at least not anytime soon. Maybe there is a master edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in the future, maybe for the Switch 2, that bundles everything together for a price and you can just play that DLC on the cartridge. But this does not seem to be the case right now with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the Nintendo Switch, that there will be a physical version of the Future Redeemed DLC. So just keep that in mind, guys. You got to pick up the expansion pass, which is well worth it, especially for like the $30 that it is, and you get all the content that they've shown so far. There was also this that was translated from the official Monolith Soft account. Future Redeemed is a prequel to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, featuring a new protagonist. It's a totally original story that will connect the stories of the 3 Xenoblade games in a way never before told. So very important to note that, because it's not from like the ending of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, although I think that there's definitely going to be some ties, obviously, with the supernatural stuff that goes on in the Xenoblade franchise. But it's very interesting to see who the protagonists are, their names, and so much more, which we do have all of that translated ready to go. It was not revealed in the trailer or anything on Nintendo of America, but we've got the translations due to the Monolith Soft Japanese account. So very exciting on that front. Plus, there's also amiibo news and more. Let's start off with the new classes and features in this game. You can see some of it in the trailer, some of the different weapons that you have here, but it looks really cool. So let's talk about this. So Matthew, he is the main character here, which obviously he is a son of one of the Noahs in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So Matthew, he uses the Ouroboros Knuckles. So these just aren't the regular, class that we had in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This is the Ouroboros Knuckles. So these are definitely more powerful than what you could expect in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Next up is A. She is a Monado Fencer. So as you can probably see here, yes, she wields a different version of what seems to be like a Monado or a legendary blade here. Very cool to see her. Next up is Nicole, and he is a machinist, and he has these really cool arms, almost like Doc Ock from Spider-Man, but his own Xenoblade version of that. Looks very much like Shulk, so there's definitely something going on there, which we'll probably learn more about later. Next up after this is obviously, you love him, and this is probably the biggest glow up of all time in video game history, and that is Rex. the master driver, and he is dual wielding Pyra and Mithra's blade, both of them. Goodness gracious, he looks incredible, he's incredibly strong, and he knows what he's doing at this point. This is no longer an origin story of my man when he is a child. He is a fully grown, seasoned battle veteran, as you can tell by his eye getting slashed out, which we'll talk a little bit more about as well. There's information on that. Next up, Shulk. He is a grand soldier. Of course, he's got the Monado, and his arm seems to have gotten completely yeeted, which, once again, there is more information on that. And then last but definitely not least is Glimmer. She is an Instrumentalist of Flame, which the translation on this is kind of rough, so it might change in the future. So those are all the classes of the main characters here. Very cool when it comes down to it. Love what they're doing here. Now we also have an updated chart on the main characters and what happens. So the connection between the characters here. This is very, very cool that they showed this off too. So it says this chart representing all of the relationships among characters in Future Redeemed. It's only another week until the expansion comes out, so look forward to it. So as you can see here, we have this mysterious character, which everyone's saying is Alvis, right? We saw that beforehand. Then you also have N, and then you also have Z. Those are the Mobius, and then Gondor. Obviously, there is an attack on the city, and then from there, you have the grandfather, which is also Matthew, and also Nael or Niall. I'm not exactly sure how you say your name, but they are brother and sister. Matthew is the older brother, and she is the younger sister. Now, we also have a nation utilizing machine technology, which is Kevis, a nation really looking at machine technology. That is exactly what Shulk is all about, is the machine technology. So it makes some sense there. Also, those glasses that he has as well, Shulk also had those. And then you also have Agnes, which we do know about that. Those were the two biggest warring nations against each other. And Agnes is a strong nation focusing on the magic of ether, which is the setup that we have. So the age-old battles of just forever of Kevis and Agnes at each other's throats, constantly fighting each other, dying, and then more soldiers coming. That whole cycle that Mobius, that Zed wanted to do is all there. You also see the relationship chart here with A2. I did forget to add that in there. And then at the bottom, you also have the Liberators. Now, this is a whole separate faction here. You have Shulk, who is one of the Liberators. They're very reliable. Obviously, they're incredibly strong. And it does say that is quite a cause and effect. You also have Rex as well. They're the Liberators, very reliable. And then you also have Riku that's here too. So the amount of time since Riku is still there, a lot of things start to make a bit more sense with this, because Riku knew about that Lucky 7 blade and kind of talked about it and then ended up giving it to Noah, right? So there's definitely something there. And the time period between when Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is taking place and what happened here, there's definitely either some time distortion or there's something going on that we are going to find out here in this DLC. This is exciting DLC when it comes down to it. Now let's talk more about the main characters here, then we'll get into some of the extra content as well. So we're going to first talk about Matthew. He is a young man who belongs to the city, a group dedicated to standing against Mobius. He is straightforward but kind and searches for his missing sister, Niall. Niall and Matthew are definitely Noah and Mio's son and daughter, so that's pretty clear when it comes down to it. I love the connection there though. Next up is A. So this wielder of a thin red sword who fights alongside Matthew. A tends to judge things calmly, which complements Matthew, who tends to act without thinking quite nicely. Okay, so you have the kind of the enraged, I'm gonna go in there and fight, then also the calm, strategic type of fighter as well. Next up is Nicole, and this is a Kevesi soldier who is talented in mechanical engineering. He is usually calm and quiet, but gets fired up when discussing machines. Instead of a blade, he fights with mechanical arms. Oh my gosh, very nice as well. Once again, looks very much like Shulk when Shulk was younger. Next up is Rex. He's a powerful swordsman who wields dual greatswords. He's flexible and frank, and alongside Shulk leads the Liberators. He lost his left eye in battle, so obviously you see that there. He's an attacker. You guys see their classes as well that are displayed with the different symbols. Next up is Shulk, a kind swordsman who wields a great red sword. Due to his previous battles, his right arm has been replaced with the prosthetic. He can only wield his sword in his left hand. And I like the nod to Dumban with this as well. So awesome stuff there. And Shulk just looks incredible. I like how they've aged him up, but the long hair, his face looks a little bit more, he just looks more tried and true. They've done an incredible job designing Rex and Shulk. This is some of the best glow-ups that I've seen in a very long time with characters getting older. So I love that. Now, last but definitely not least, with your main cast is Glimmer. She is an Agnian soldier who fights using a stringed cane. She has a rather strong personality and often takes a harsh tone. Often, she acts selfishly as she doesn't accept the truth of the world around her. So a lot of people are asking, is this Pyra's child or something like that? We don't know about anything like that, but I guess if it was Pyra's child, wouldn't we already know? They wouldn't say something at this point, right? If he's rolling on with Father Rex around, but maybe not, but we're gonna have to wait and see. All of the super hardcore Xenoblade fans, they'll know exactly what they're talking about. Watch the analysis videos when it comes down to it, guys. And then next up is a mysterious figure who appears before Shulk and Rex. And we're all thinking this is Alvis, part of the Trinity processor that essentially creates the world of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and gives Shulk a lot of his abilities when it comes to seeing his will. And there are so many things that Alvis controls. So the fact that Alvis is kind of standing against Rex and Shulk and how the worlds collide and what's going on here. There's just so much stuff. Yes, there was answers in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in terms of how the worlds came together and kind of what happened and everything with Melia and Nia, but there still needs to be more. This will fill in the blanks in terms of what happened because it is a prequel. So very good there. And then last but definitely not least, we're going to talk about Nael, and she is Matthew's younger sister. She has a kind-hearted personality, taking care of kids in the city. Due to certain events, she goes missing. So the city, obviously, there's a problem there, right? You see it in the trailer. That city gets blasted and it goes through and takes care of things. So it looks like she'll be able to fight as well. And she might be a hero added into your party. It seems that way because you already have 6 people. So she could be the extra hero class that comes in once you find her or where she is. So very exciting with all of this. Now, some amiibo news here, guys. We do have the Pyra Mithra amiibo for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Will launch as a double pack on July 21st. Each amiibo unlocks a unique Aegis sword weapon skin that characters using the sword fighter class can wield in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So as you can see here, it's an awesome poses of Pyra and Mithra, and it also has the skin too, very much like the Monado skin that Shulk would unlock, or they just ended up letting people be able to unlock. And there will also be ways to get these skins too, so you don't have to have the amiibo to get the skins in the game. There will be other conditions that can be met for you to get the skins, which I'm guessing you have to beat the Future Redeemed DLC, and then you'll be able to have it as well. So cool stuff there. Then there's also news on new amiibo. So amiibo figures of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 protagonists Noah and Mio are also on the way. Stay tuned for more details. So there is more amiibo coming. So this is a lot to break down. There is so much stuff to talk about here, and you guys will be seeing new clips and extra clips of gameplay footage as well, along with the original trailer. This got me incredibly hyped. This DLC looks like probably the best DLC that I've ever seen from Nintendo. Like the fact that they have this DLC and all of the characters, the story setup, the different abilities, what they've done here, the battle system is not overhauled. So it's not an overhaul of the battle system. It's a tweaking from what I've seen here. They're tweaking some things. There's some new combos that are even in there as well. They have some new classes too that kind of freshen up the gameplay. So I think that it's going to be very similar to what we saw with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torn of the Golden Country, where that DLC actually simplified but then added depth. It got rid of all of the blade nonsense, all of that type of stuff that you didn't necessarily need, and it broke it down to its core fundamentals of the gameplay, and then added the Vanguard system in there, added the rest spots, added a bunch of other little things that became mainstays in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I like the fact that this game seems to remove a lot of that stuff. I don't think that there's going to be all these different heroes and stuff like that. I doubt it's going to be like that. I think it's just going to be, here's your cast, here's who you use, and you could probably get like one extra hero with Matthew's sister, and then that's that. Or maybe some characters kind of join you for a bit, then leave. But I think this is who you're going to be using because you got Shulk and you got Rex on your team. I mean, that is enough. You got Shulk and Rex. These guys are legends, heroes, essentially, in their own right. So I think that's going to be enough for people. Just like when we were playing with Mithra and we were playing with Adam, that was enough. We were playing with Minoff. There was all these super cool characters. We didn't need all these different random blades and different type of stuff. We've got enough. So I'm thinking that's what it's going to be. We're going to have to wait and see fully for it. But yes, coming out next week, it's April 25th. Super hype, really excited. This is incredible news here. Nintendo is on a roll when it comes to this DLC and content on the Nintendo Switch. So what are your thoughts when it comes to everything here? And make sure you check out my previous Xenoblade Chronicles 3 videos. I did a fantastic review of the game. So if you haven't picked it up yet and you want to get into Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you can start there, and you can also watch some content that'll help you understand the first and second games. It's all on the channel. I'll have links to all of that information right here on screen for you, to where you can catch up with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, and even the story of 3, my review of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and what makes the series great. So thank you guys so much for your support. I appreciate it, and we'll see you for the next video. Peace.
丸腰だぞ。ブレードすら持ってね。見ろよ、あの顔。
やりましょう。こんな奴に時間を取られるわけにはいかない。
メビウスの3下のくせに手こずらせやがって。
なんなんだ最後のあれは。
最後のあれってウロボロスパワーのことか？決まったろ。
なんでわざわざ使ったのかと聞いているんだ。先兵は崩壊寸前だった。
そりゃあ最後くらいはこうビシッとさ。決める前に倒れられるとなんか調子くるんだよな、その日一日。
はあ、ウロボロスの力はメビウスに探知される。極力使うなと前から言ってるだろ。
ちょっとだけじゃんかよ。結果オーライ。いいだろう、別に勝ったんだから。多いよ小言。
言葉の前後を入れ替えるな。美しくない。
そういうとこ。